If the product is great and the quality is great and the price is reasonable and something that we think our customers can afford, because that's what we're all about. How do we get more sustainable products out in the market and reduce people's reliance on these conventional products?
Hello and welcome to the Conscious Design Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Peterman, and I help turn product ideas into sustainable seven-figure businesses. Join me for another episode where sustainability meets innovation and business savvy. Today, I'm really excited to have Lauren Gropper. She's the co-founder and CEO at Repurpose. They're a company that creates plant-based, non-toxic alternatives to single-use products to make your life easier. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ian. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so everybody loves a good origin story. So let's talk a little bit about how single-use plastics is not a small thing to tackle. It is very large. So how did you guys decide that that's what you wanted to tackle and you're going to launch a whole company to try to help us fix that problem?
Yeah. So we've been around now about almost 15 years, and I think I've been very into sustainability my whole life since I was a kid. I actually studied environmental studies in college and did a bunch of work in the environmental field after college. On the policy side, I did some ecotourism work, but I didn't really find, I think, my passion until I had done a bunch of global travel and then really fell in love with design and architecture and started digging into sustainable design and fell in love with sustainable design, green building, ended up going to grad school in New York, studying environmental design and planning. And that's when I just knew I'd kind of found the passion, really loved that field, had worked in the green building field in New York, mostly, a little bit in Toronto as well, and had this random opportunity to come to LA just over 15 years ago to do work with sustainable sets, so film and TV sets, looking at kind of the impact of the design of the sets, the energy use, the water use, the waste, et cetera, and sort of like how could we produce more sustainably? At the time.
Amazing. I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, most people didn't, but I was working actually with an actor at the time in New York on his home, and he happened to be pretty active on a TV show back in the day and was interested in kind of looking at how we could make the TV show a little more sustainable. So that's how it all kind of came to be. So fast forward, we're on the sets, and one of the big issues to tackle on sets is waste, because you're constantly breaking and constantly having a, it's fast, it's transient, and you're using single-use plastics all day. At least at the time we were, which felt to me like, oh my God, why are we putting all this effort into making a set more sustainable, but at the same time breaking for meals and using plastic all day long? So it really just started out, honestly, as a research project. Like, what else is out there? And I think having a sustainable design background really is what I think gave me that perspective to look for something different, because the conventional products that still exist today use petroleum. So they're digging a finite resource out of the ground to make something that we use for 5 minutes. And that didn't make any sense to me. And then it also lasts forever in a landfill, not to mention microplastics, not to mention plastics in the ocean, not to mention PFAS. So at the time, I honestly didn't know anything about any of those issues, but it just, from a design perspective, felt like we weren't thinking about circularity at all. And I wanted to kind of apply certain circularity and those super design principles to this product category. So the research project kind of became this second passion, where I just thought, wow, if we could just find a better alternative that wasn't so toxic or so wasteful, that would be great. And there were some alternatives at the time, early days of plant-based compostable products. They were so expensive, and they also didn't perform very well. So you had, there were various like plates made out of bamboo or sugarcane, things like that, corn-based cups and starch-based cutlery. But, the cutlery melted, the plates would seep through with grease, or there was just nothing really was as good as the conventional plastic alternative or foam alternative. So I just put it on the shelf for a minute and thought, okay, well, if it could be sort of priced similarly, if the performance could be the same as conventional products, then maybe there would be something. And I happened to meet someone who had a connection to manufacturers in Taiwan who were making these types of products. Taiwan was well ahead of the US because they had banned single-use plastics in 2006. So by the
Oh, wow.
and
That's really ahead of the curve.
yeah, they were way ahead of the curve. So when I was looking at this in 2010, they had already had these products in the market in Taiwan for several years. So I got to meet those manufacturers and an R&D group working with the manufacturers, and they were very keen on getting these products to the US. So I just sort of said, well, they need to meet this quality. They need to meet this price point. If you can do that, there's something there. And that was really how Repurpose was born. And then in talking to various friends and colleagues, they sort of said, Lauren, this is not just a research project. This can be a business. You can create a brand out of this. I think I was very excited about the idea of creating a brand also because I think of my design background and didn't know anything about consumer products, didn't know anything about kind of the grocery industry or like, how do you get your products onto a shelf? But I was just very young and very naive and thought, well, of course, I'm going to try. So that was always the vision, create a brand around this category of products, use this really cool technology and deliver a product that was, not toxic, made from plants, can compost within 90 days and be available at a price point that people can afford. So not some niche high-end product. We really want it to be kind of an everyday product that everybody could use. And why couldn't people get these products in their homes? So this was around, we'd incorporated in 2010, but really hit the market in 2012. And for us, it was all about kind of like, how do we deliver on that promise? How do we create this like fun and exciting brand that people can really rally behind because they know they're getting a great product at a great price and it's super sustainable. And I think at the time, you saw this kind of increase in organic food and increase in organic baby products and cleaning products that were more sustainable or non-toxic. And so it felt like if you're going to go to the effort to create a healthy home in a non-toxic home, like why are you bringing plastic and foam into your home? This should be the next extension of that healthy home.
Or to work. Taking, disposables, forks, and you're using it at work.
Or work. Yeah. It's ripe for disruption. And why isn't anybody doing it? And we should be the ones to do it. So, it was very exciting at that time. And we were a little early, I think, in terms of market readiness, hitting the market in 2012. There was, sort of that kind of like early adopter, highly interested in sustainability subset of consumers, but it certainly was not mass. There was not like a mass appeal for sustainability in this category. So it was a big uphill battle. Number one, to get kind of retail buyers interested. Number two, to get even, consumers sort of excited about what we were doing on a mass scale. So that's been a big piece of our journey too, is just education and awareness.
Right. Well, it's a whole, and I feel like your products don't require a big change in behavior, which has been one of the biggest. There's a lot of other companies that are developing, like you were talking about cleaning solutions where it's, it's a pellet, right? You're putting it in the water and then becomes soap that you normally expect, right? There's things that require an adjustment, but I think there's so many things like what you're tackling where it doesn't require this huge behavioral change. It's just more of understanding this, and I guess probably from so many bad products that didn't perform very well, getting people to understand, it's not the same sustainable product from 15 years ago. It actually works.
That's been a challenge too, because there have been other competitors that come out with an inferior product, and then that's what someone will experience, and never again will they go back to another sustainable product. And I'm like, but we care so much about our products and product quality. Like we just launched not recently, maybe about 18 months ago with bamboo toilet paper. And toilet paper is very personal, and toilet paper is very kind of, people have very preferences, right?
People are very picky about their toilet paper.
So, there's various ply. There's 2-ply, there's 3-ply. We've always gone with the highest ply because we believe it has the best quality. But there's plenty of 2-ply out there. So if somebody has used 2-ply, they may decide, I don't like bamboo toilet paper, but you haven't tried 3-ply. So there's those kinds of issues, but across the board. So yeah, that's the challenge too. Just sort of overcoming that the experience that people have had with other products, that we are really trying to get people to understand that, no, we make great products. We really do. And please try us.
Give it at least one more try.
Yeah.
You guys do a really broad range, and I guess first, great to give everyone listening, watching this, an idea of just how all the categories you work in. And then I would love for you to talk a little bit about what's the one area that's taken the most to get out there, to get traction.
Great question. So we make all of our products are under the umbrella, I would say, of sort of like eco household goods. Everything we make is plant-based, is non-toxic, and is compostable within 90 days. Those are sort of the general criteria. So under that umbrella, we're focused on, I would say, kind of 3 areas. One is what we call disposable tabletop, which is like your disposable plates, your cutlery, cups, straws. And much of those are actually made from upcycled waste products, or the waste product of agriculture. We call it ag waste. So instead of throwing it away, we're using a waste product to create another useful product. Then we also operate in kind of what I would call parties. So we do these really cool like wine cups without a stem. We call them stemless cups. They're great for events and weddings, etc. We do red cup, like an alternative to the ubiquitous solar red cup, but ours is paper fiber based, has no plastic lining. It's awesome, actually. And then we also operate in kitchen and bath. So we do trash bags, as well as bamboo toilet paper and bamboo paper towel. So we always sort of look to expand in those 3 general areas, which cover a lot of kind of what you're going to use every day in your home. The toughest one to kind of, I think, overcome that hurdle, I would say, is probably your kitchen trash bag. So we sell a lot of these smaller compostable trash bags that people use on their countertop for food scraps and that kind of thing. But the bag that goes in your standard kitchen garbage bag, people are used to like thick plastic, that holds everything.
Yeah, hefty.
Hefty. And, a compostable bag, it just isn't, if we were to have that kind of weight, it would just be price prohibitive. So in order to compete on price and kind of all the things, it is a little bit thinner. It's not sort of like apples to apples with a tall kitchen bag. So that will take a little more effort to kind of be like, okay, I understand what I'm getting into. I know what to expect. All the other products, actually, I think many of them are superior. Like our plates and our bowls are thicker than what you would use for a standard conventional. They're more durable.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they're more durable because of just what they're made from. We use upcycled sugar cane. So once the sugar industry, they extract juice from the cane, but then the cane is typically burned, sometimes for like a day.
I've read about that.
Yeah.
It's a massive waste.
Yeah, it's waste. So we will use that. It's actually very strong. Those fibers are really strong. We also use post-industrial recycled wood chips to give it like that extra durability. So it's a very premium product, but at a value price. So that's what's great about those, because it's a waste product, or it was made from waste product. Those are great. I mean, our straws are not paper straws. Our straws are made with a plant-based resin called PHA, which is canola seed oil derivative. And it feels just like plastic. It's amazing. But it doesn't crack, doesn't break, doesn't get soggy, nothing like that. Awesome product. Compostable also. Non-toxic, no PFAS, etc. So that's a great one. The bamboo toilet paper, I think, is also softer. I mean, way better than standard toilet paper. It's like up there with Sharp.
I love bamboo. My wife and I are very much into, there's some really amazing bamboo towels and things like that at first you're like, bamboo, like really, like at best it's a grass, at worst it's it's a really hard stick, and you're like, this, how in the world is this gonna feel soft? And then you use it and you're like, oh, okay, I get it, it's nice.
It's a great material because, like you said, it's like a grass. It grows like a weed, so it's considered renewable. You're not, if you cut down bamboo, it grows back very quickly, versus cutting down an old growth forest, it does not grow back. You're losing biodiversity. It affects the entire kind of microclimate, et cetera. So it's much more sustainable to use bamboo than, virgin paper for any of these things, or, other textiles.
It's funny you mentioned the plastic bag thing, because what I noticed, just in our household, we've slowly transitioned to all of our plastic bags are now recyclable or biodegradable. Actually, we finally gotten to that point. And the kitchen one was the last one. We started with poop bags. I feel like that's an easy entryway. Is the
poop bag is a good
poop bag. You're like, it doesn't have to hold up very long. We don't really care. We know it's immediately getting thrown away. Like, okay, that's easy. And then you're like, wait, this actually, it doesn't fall apart in 30 seconds. Like and then it was like the bathroom trash containers are smaller, nowhere, you're not putting, half a watermelon that's gone bad or something in it. So you're like, it can handle the weight. And then eventually it's, okay, now we've used it long enough. We finally will trust it in our kitchen trash. And now we're like, okay, this is great. We feel way better about it. But it's funny you mentioned that because just we're very conscious about this stuff. And it took us a while before we got to that.
Absolutely. It's a different experience. So that's just the one where it's not such like a one-to-one swap where you're like, oh, okay, I just swap this out. No problem. Easy swap. It's not the same as a thick plastic bag. It's not.
Yes. Hey, it's your host, Ian. I'm really glad you're enjoying this episode. I absolutely love highlighting amazing brands and founders for the awesome things they are doing. I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and businesses like yours turn their boldest ideas into powerful, purpose-driven brands. So if you're serious about building a brand people love, like our guests and clients do, and one that you're proud to stand behind, I invite you to dive a bit deeper with our book, Conscious Design. Inside, you'll discover the exact framework and steps we use to help entrepreneurs like you turn purpose into a powerful, impact-driven brand. A brand that stands out, attracts loyal customers, and drives sustainable growth with social and environmental responsibility woven into its DNA. Grab your copy today. You can find it on our website, consciousdesignhouse.com, or just find the link below in the show notes. Enjoy the rest of the episode, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You mentioned biodegradability in 90 days or less. And this is a topic that a lot of people get confusion on because there's like industrial composting versus throw it in the ground. And I noticed that you guys are actually approved that you can go into the 𝐲𝐮𝐫, which I had them on a couple months ago, I believe.
Love them.
Amazing product. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how, like, what can you just toss it in your yard? I mean, not that you want to do that with your trash, but as far as like biodegrading, how quickly and easily can you use it for compost?
Yeah, great question. So there's sort of three types like you outlined. Industrially compostable, which means it likely goes into your municipal compost system, gets picked up in your green bin kind of thing. The home compost is there's many different kinds of home compost. You may have a backyard pile, you may have an actual compost, bin or a tumbler, what have you. It really depends on where you live and how much humidity, how much kind of moisture and aeration, so oxygen, hits the compost. So if you've got a really big compost pile, products can disintegrate like in several months. If it's wintertime and in a cold climate, nothing's compost. It's not going to.
Well, yeah, nothing's doing that anyway, naturally.
Yeah. There is actually a European certification right now called TUV, and that is there is an independent third-party certifier that basically does testing. It says within 12 months, your product will break down in a backyard situation. What's tough, however, is there's so many different sort of climatic regions here in the U.S. that what's going to happen in Alaska is not going to happen in Florida, et cetera. I can't give like a definitive time frame, but they are designed to break down within that 12-month period for our products that are home compostable. Not all of our products are home compostable, but about 75% of our portfolio is.
Amazing. Okay, so you're able to get a majority of your stuff to actually be
our stuff is home.
Backyard.
Yes.
From a material standpoint for you, one of the questions that comes up is like, how have you picked between the material? Like, what has made you have to pick an industrial only versus a backyard?
Some of it is, I'd say, product durability and product characteristics.
Okay.
So those are the two things. If you want something clear, like a clear cup, for example, there isn't currently a home compostable clear option. You can get something that is opaque or a solid, but fully clear is not yet available as a material for home compostability. So that's one. And so our wine cups, for example, are industrially compostable. And then our cutlery, we actually moved to a home compostable option. But previously, to get that durability, you needed, an industrial compost with very high levels of heat, humidity, and oxygen to break it down because you wanted that like thick, durable fork and knife.
Right.
But now,
you're testing it with food.
It's advanced such that actually with an industrial composter, it's less than 90 days. And in the home certification, it's within 1 year.
Okay, amazing. So you're able to move. Now your cutlery is home compost.
Yeah, we are actually material agnostic is what we say. So we are always kind of working with and looking for the latest and greatest kind of technology to apply to our products. So we shift as the technology shifts, which is great because then we're not stuck with a 10-year-old technology 10 years from now when there's been so many amazing advances. We want to always kind of be that piece to the consumer that, they know that our brand represents kind of the latest in innovation and quality and durability and affordability. They can trust what we're giving them.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're the person, if I invent some new, better, sustainable material, I should bring it to you and be like, hey, what can you use this for? Can you swap it?
Exactly. Yeah. So we have all these incredible retail partners. We've got all these, online customers that love our products. And if we're launching something new, we're sure to communicate that and say, hey, this is something new. It's different than what you purchased before, but we believe in the quality and it's just as good as what you've used in the past. And it's more sustainable because of these reasons. So they often get excited about that. I mean, they'll be the first to be able to use this new stuff.
Well, I would assume that really helps because you've already built that brand to brand relationship. You have, and I saw you guys at Costco and Whole Foods, and like you have some really big brands. And if you've already built that trust, your product isn't getting returned every time somebody buys it, people actually like it, then you're able to leverage that more to go, hey, there is this new technology. We haven't failed you before.
Right.
Whereas, if I'm a brand new startup with no relationship, it's a lot harder to.
It's a lot harder.
It's just me beating my own horn rather than you guys going, yeah, we tested it, we made it. Here's the product.
Yeah. We do quite rigorous testing because we have a lot of different sort of technology companies approaching us, and we're always interested to learn kind of, how we could potentially work with them. And if the product is great and the quality is great and the price is reasonable and something that we think our customers can afford, like if there's no price impact, we're very interested in partnering with those groups because that's what we're all about. How do we get more sustainable products out in the market and kind of reduce people's reliance on these conventional products?
Right. I feel like your model's a little bit different. Most running this podcast, we talk to a lot of different companies, and a lot of times it's a company develops a material and then they develop a product and they try to vertically kind of integrate everything. Whereas your model is more of, we don't care where it comes from, as long as it's better, more sustainable, delivers the same performance or better, we want to use it and make our products with it.
Yeah, I think for us, we've taken that approach because we really consider ourselves a brand first and foremost. And so we want to be able to use that platform and that brand to kind of really push the needle with these new and amazing technologies. Most of these technology companies are eager to commercialize, and we can do that, very quickly with them. It gives them that leg up instead of having to do all that work themselves.
Right. How product category kind of looking forward, are you planning to stay? Is this your focus, or are you looking to expand beyond the home food kind of category?
Yeah, great question. We're always looking to expand as we always want to grow. So, but it's got to make sense, I think, for the brand, right? Like we have a lot of different offers for different various technologies or product categories that we feel that maybe don't make sense or too far of a stretch. So there's some items that we're working on currently that I can't share, but they fall under those basic umbrellas. What do you use at home all the time? And some interesting new products that maybe aren't in your sort of everyday arsenal that could be really useful and helpful to you that are very sustainable. So we always, I think being a company that stands for sustainability, but making single-use items is sort of a difficult position at times. And our motto is really kind of like reuse first. You should always reuse when you can. That should be, from a sustainability perspective, reuse is number one. But there's so many occasions when you cannot reuse or where you need to have these options that we are the most sustainable option after reuse. So that's really where we fall in. So anything that is sort of like, okay, well, if I can't reuse, there's not a reusable option, or it's just extremely inconvenient to do so, what is it that Repurpose can provide in that need?
Yeah, I agree. If you can reuse, if you can and do that, then that's ideal because it's better investment for your money anyway to buy one thing and use it forever. Like that's
much more sustainable as well. I mean, I reuse as much as possible. That's kind of the first thing, like what we use first and foremost over and over again. And, is it made out of material that doesn't leach toxin? Okay, great. Now that I have that, but there are occasions all the time where I have to use Repurpose, or it's just like significantly more convenient. Like I'm having 20 people over. I don't have 20 wine glasses, or I don't have like 20 forks hanging around. So it's just much more convenient.
Your kids' birthday parties.
Birthday parties.
It's kids.
Anything. I mean, like it's endless. I think it is a little naive to say like, oh, let's just reuse everything. It's just not an option. So given the modern world we live in, what can we swap for these single-use items that are really sustainable? And that's where we come in.
I love that idea, right? If you're, rather than trying to just make everything a single use, you're really focusing on what has to be a single use.
Yes, exactly.
Because of our consumer behavior and just like you said, our modern day, what people expect, right? And I think back to, picking stuff that makes it for the most part really not have to change your behavior. Cause I feel like that's one of the biggest hurdles for people to get into sustainability products has been, if you have to add 15 steps to what you're doing, it's really hard, to get someone to, even at the same cost, if you're spending more time doing it, right? Whereas, the things that you're offering are, it's a direct replacement. You're actually replacing something you're already used to using. You already know how to use it. You don't have to learn something new, and it's going to be more sustainable. And at least from what I see, you're able to be in that price point too, where it's not that financial hurdle of, it's 10 times more expensive to buy this. And I have to be rich and care about sustainability to be able to even think about buying this.
Absolutely do not want that.
As you've been doing this a while now, what have you seen change like in the sustainability category for this and over the last few years? And I guess, do you have any thoughts on like how this category is moving forward? Because I have my own thoughts I'll add, but I would love to hear to hear your thoughts on just this.
Actually, really one of the sort of the proudest achievements I would say is that the majority of the category is now sort of sustainably positioned, or at least using some kind of sustainable materials. So even the large conventional players, the brands that we were trying to disrupt, have adopted some kind of sustainability aspect in their products. They're not even positioning them sustainable, here's our sustainable line. It's just that their products every day are more sustainable. And the whole category has been that way. So, and the retailers, the very large retailers like your Targets and your Walmarts and your Costco's are demanding it. And so it's exciting to see that.
So you're actually seeing the retailer side is requiring
retailers
it
are
now.
requiring it, are demanding it. The consumers are demanding it. The category is going that way. The largest players, the largest manufacturers are incorporating it into their products every day. So to kind of be the spark that kind of lit that fire is really awesome. I feel very, very proud about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge achievement right? That's always the goal when you go, hey, we want to disrupt something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to become the 500-pound gorilla in the category. You just need to get all the ones that are to start moving with you.
Yes, exactly. It's amazing to see. So, I mean, on one hand, yes, there's more competition, but on the other hand, I think we've built a nice niche for ourselves and a nice brand platform, and we play alongside all these huge players. So rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward, this transition, it sounds like the market as a whole is really more adopting it. And I've kind of noticed, in the last 10 years ago, you could just say, build more sustainable product or something like that, and you get a lot of attention. But now there's more that kind of expectation of, oh, you are producing a product. What sustainable things are you including? How are you addressing that? I'm curious if you've seen the same kind of thing, and start with that.
Yeah, I think now there are federal guidelines that outline kind of what you can and can't say. So you can't just use these big words like natural or eco-friendly. You actually have to quantify or qualify kind of like what makes your product sustainable. And then also you need third-party independent certification to say it is certified, for example, organic. And for us, it's certified compostable or certified bio-based. You can't just say, oh, it's made from natural materials without actually having a certification or that actually outlining what it's made from. So these are really strict guidelines. They're legally enforced. And I think it's great because it prevents people from what they call greenwashing, where making these outrageous claims that aren't verified.
Right. Just coloring it green and letting people imagine that it is now.
What's interesting too is, at least in California, you can't use the word biodegradable on your product because,
Interesting.
Yeah, you have to use the term compostable because compostable has a testing method and has a timeline, and it has to adhere to that testing method and timeline. Biodegradable, I mean, like everything in the world is biodegradable. Technically, your desk is biodegradable. The toaster.
It's just a matter of how long.
It could take 1,000 years, right? But there's no distinct timeline. So I think people understand that term really widely and they use it all the time. And it's kind of like a great marketing term, but we actually can't say it on our product or even describe it, use it as a descriptive word or anything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As much as I do, I love the word biodegradable.
Yeah.
It says a nice, it just sounds nice, right? Compostable, I feel like has a little bit of oh, you're on a farm or something. It's a little bit less nice. But I do like that it is it's quantifiable. So hopefully I would hope that it becomes federally as well, that this actually you can define it. Because there's a good point, right? Yeah, it is biodegradable over the next 400,000 years. It will.
Well, eventually.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It will eventually.
It will.
So yeah, that kind of clarity, which I wasn't aware that they had actually passed that to make it not possible to use.
California, I believe in other states you can, but there's some, I actually can't recall which other states prohibit saying biodegradable, but because we sell nationwide, we just go with that one item and don't say the biodegradable word.
Right. Well, yeah, that seems the safest bet. Good to do that. Yeah, well, this has been really great chatting with you. I love what you guys are doing. I love you're taking this technology, material agnostic approach and really just being able to roll with technology change and not getting trapped. I think it's huge especially this area.
Especially
right? There's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah. So love what you're doing there. For people that want to reach out, find you guys, pitch you a new material to have you guys possibly look at, or just buy your products, what's the best website, social, where's the best place for someone to reach out?
www.repurpose.com. Socials are at Repurpose. You can find us in about 15,000 stores nationwide: Whole Foods, Kroger, Albertsons, Costco, Target, kind of everywhere you shop. So come find us, try us out. Amazon. Yeah, all the places.
All the places. Love it. And for everybody listening and watching, there will be links in the description for all of that. And I really appreciate your time, Lauren. This has been really fun chatting with you. Love what you're doing. Excited to see what you do in the next 15 years.
Oh, thanks, Ian. Thanks so much. Great to be here.
And that wraps up another episode of the Conscious Design Podcast. If today's episode inspired you to bring your product idea to life and turn it into a sustainable 7-figure business, visit petermanfirm.com or click the link below. Your ideas have the power to change the world, and we're here to help make that happen. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you on the next episode.